I'm a big believer in the Arthur Ashe quote that goes, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. That is a realistic recipe for real-world progress without unrealistic, perfectionistic expectations. Here, we follow the progress of a retired ranch horse in the course of a number of exercises at a clinic. This horse is extremely protective of his face. Watch as he becomes gradually less defensive. Not perfection, but hopefully real progress. Here we go. Okay, now you're riding with a mechanical hackamore. Now, it's very popular to hate on mechanical hackamores these days. I don't subscribe to that. You use whatever works for your particular horse. But it is a little harder to bend a horse laterally in a mechanical hackamore. Now, you have a shorter shank on this, so that should be a lot easier than this longer shank mechanical hackamore on the paint horse. So just go ahead and pick up and see if you can bend to the left. All right. And just let him do whatever he needs to do to find that. I know this horse is in his 20s. This may be
25 plus.
25 plus.
And
So
I've never done this before.
So he's around my age. So I'm 25 plus, don't laugh. So just hold your hand ever so steady. There. Now that's not perfect, but turn him loose. Because here's what you need to remember with one like him is this is a new idea late in life. Mm-hmm. And you don't need perfection, you need progress. So he went from rooting and worried to not perfect, but relaxed and accepting. And that's all you can ask for. Take him that direction again, to the left. And let him go through all of that. Just hold your hand ever so still. You could put it down on your jeans and just let him find that. That way you're stabilized. See, he's trying everything. There, see that?
Oh, there, yeah.
Now, and he sort of had a relapse pretty quick, but that actually doesn't trouble me because he's had 25 years to not learn this,
right.
And he's had like 25 seconds to learn it. So we got to sort of keep things in context. So let's take him to the right. Okay, just take your hand around your jeans and let him back up if he needs to. For all he knows, he thinks he's doing the right thing. Just let him flounder around there a little bit until he finds. The nice thing is they get instant release when they do the right thing. Make sure your left rein's nice and loose. So he's a little stiffer this way, and that's not surprising. We're all right-handed and left-handed too. So you can see his whole body is braced, but you're going to work through that pretty quick. Horses are really good at making you think they'll never give in, but he will. And nobody gets to leave till you get this, so you're okay. He's close. Now you folks may want to give him a little room because I don't want to have to abort this mission, but I also don't want him to push anybody out of the pen. Now he's saying there must be another way. Maybe I could lean. Yeah, just keep that. He's just about to give it to you. I'm going to call that there. Perfect, perfect. Now let me show you one little thing that will help him is you can actually take your hand out to the side and lead him. In other words, instead of being back here, you're out here where that invites him to bend a little more. So get your hand out in front of the saddle horn way about halfway up his neck. And then just take your hand off to the side, way out, and then just hold it steady. See, it's harder for him to get away from that. Very close. Very close. Just let him see if he'll just look out of his right eye. He's still thinking there must be a way around this. I know it tests the strength of your right arm holding it out like that. Good.
Good job.
Good job indeed. Yep. So one thing I would encourage you folks to do is there's no reason why you can't be doing this, you know, as you're sitting around, especially if your horse was a little hesitant. That's a good opportunity to work on it, because one of the hard things about clinics is, so somebody talks to you for 90 seconds and then it's 90 minutes till you get involved again. So, you know, you can use these things like this horse here. He came off a ranch and he was sort of cowboyed a good bit. And those guys, ranch horses are great horses, but they're tools. And some people take better care of their tools than others. And so there's a lot of guys that are real effective cowboys that are also a little crude with their hands because they got a job they're doing. And they're doing it one-handed because they got a rope in their hand or they're opening a gate and they're in a hurry. And the goal is the job and the cows and not training on the horse. The horse tends to get pretty broke from experience, but part of that experience is learning how to brace and how to save themselves. So he's very defensive. Here's a way to look at it that I always find kind of rewarding, and that is, you're actually, if you do this with him, you give him a degree of peace that he doesn't have even now at 25. You can give him a certain amount of peace when he knows that when you take a hold of him, if anything, he's going to slow down and get soft. Instead of doing that, rooting his head around like he was doing. Now, you ended up in the front of the line, and I'm talking to you, so why don't you walk him out there and we'll try him to the left from a walk. Now, that's a lot bigger degree of difficulty, but you just bend him around just like you did at a standstill and wait him out. Let him walk a few feet in a straight line. A few feet in a straight line. Just go straight ahead, now bend his face. And just hold that hand still till he finds it. Till he finds it. You want him to stop his feet and get there and give his face. Now, the sequence of all of these things is important. That went really well because we did it from a standstill first. If you had started there, especially to the right, which is going to be a higher degree of difficulty, you might have had more trouble. You would have had more trouble because it would have been two things at once: movement and that bend and relax. And if you can work on one thing at a time and then add one thing, they can accept it better. We'll walk him up and do that to the right. You just want to freshen his feet up, go to the right and just wait on him. And remember, you can take your hand off to the side, keep it in front of the horn, you know, in other words, not way back around your hip. Now, I can't see him, but he's starting to look the right direction. There, is that what I think it was? Yep. So, we're not going to over dwell on this, but you can do that 300 times today, and it's not going to hurt him. You can do this when you're cooling your horse off. You can do this when you're warming him up. You can do it, and I use this when we go trail riding. If we're at a strange place,
my wife's mare tends to go off like a bomb. She says, oh boy, let's go. So I'll get on her for a couple of minutes, or I'll say to Jane, just bend her around. And she's had that done so much that she just finds that relaxing. So you bend her around a little bit, then you take your trail ride, and she's got that, her fuse has been clipped. You know, she's no longer lit. So, okay, what I think might be useful to do, let's all sort of congregate up in this side, and then we'll do this exercise down here, maybe do this 2 horses at a time. But one thing you see a lot is people, when they steer their horse, particularly if they're riding with 2 hands, they'll, I call it, pry their nose way over to the inside, thinking the more you pull on that inside rein, the more your horse is going to go the direction that you're pulling. And that works to a degree until the horse learns to bulge his shoulder out and sometimes literally go the other way. Kristen, you've experienced that with your older horse. He could do sort of a bizarre dressage maneuver the whole way across the pen. And this horse, you took a lesson from Morgan, who said, look what I can do. And you said to this guy, let's not do that. Circle? I'm going around in a circular shape, but I'm steering all kinds of different places on it. And what should happen over time is, you can see she's a little stiff. She's looking here, she's looking there. But after a bit, she should start hunting the middle of those bridle reins where there's no pressure. But remember, you got to use some leg. Like right now, she's looking that way. I'm going to use some right leg. See how she comes around? Take my hand over there, use some right leg. But I'm not just holding her, and I'm not taking more rein. I move to a point, and I ride her to that point. See, I'm over there. Now she came with me. I'm over there. Now she came with me. I'm over there. Now she came with me. I'm over here, and a little bit of left leg, and she came with me. Whoa. I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about this horse. She is a 3-year-old. She is a Percheron quarter horse cross. Her daddy was a 16'3", 1,800-pound Percheron who was broke to ride and rode real well. And her mama was a granddaughter of Hollywood Dunnett. So she's got the performance bloodlines on the mare side, but she's got the big old draft side also kind of changing things. If you look at her, she's got bigger feet, which I'm hoping will keep her sounder for her lifetime. And this is literally the first time she's been ridden in a group of horses away from home. And part of what I was looking for when I tried this experiment was maybe a little more level mind, a little less emotional involvement than you see even in some of our performance bred horses. You have to sort of spoon feed them a little. This one right now, she's drinking out of a fire hose and she's getting along pretty good. So that was my goal, to get a horse that would just go around like that. And you don't want that horse so relaxed that they're not responsive. But if you were to pick up and say, well, could you react? So she's got the very beginnings of coming off your leg. Ironically, this horse will probably be able to turn around and get handy. I have no illusions about her being a reining horse, but I like that handy side. And so she'll get the same background as any of my horses do. Who cares how she's bred? But I think this part comes with her, and I'm welcoming it so far. So let's 2 of us get out here and we'll begin that, and I'm going to pick on you, but just the only rule is don't crash into each other. Or if you do, make sure you bounce off and keep going. So looks like you 2 are up.
Yep. I follow you?
No, don't follow me.
No, you just sort of pick your spot. She's got her spot, okay. And you're going to trot around out there like I was, because I like to do, a lot of my schooling is done at a trot. It's, to me, the most useful training gait.
So this is toward the end of the day. The horse has been through the exercises you've seen and a couple other ones we didn't show on camera. And consider his performance in this simple steering exercise in the context of that Arthur Ashe quote that started the segment. We started where we were, at a clinic, with a horse with a history, with a not particularly experienced rider, and with equipment that maybe was less than optimum. We then used what we had, that horse, that rider, that equipment, to do what we could. And I think you'll see some real progress compared to the stiffness, defensiveness, and concern that he had earlier in the day. Important to realize that this is not a horse that's being resistant. He is purely defensive, and hopefully you'll see progress toward a greater degree of trust and softness in the course of the time we spent with him.
Gait. So put old Roni on a trot. So Joanna, come on off the fence. There you go. And just take your hand off to the side. And I'm sorry, I knew I'd do this. What's your name?
Donna.
Donna, just when you want to steer him, just take your both hands off to the side, and if you're going to the right, you're going to want to use a little left leg to bring him over. Okay, so now you're going to the left. That's okay. If you want to steer him in, use a little right leg, and that will bring him in. You use your right leg, move your hand over. So it's just like a steering wheel, just like you're riding a bike. Move the handlebars over and use what would be referred to as your outside leg. There are times when you use your inside. And there, Joanna, see how she's staying with you real well? You could actually give her a little more slack when she is complying like that. In other words, right there, I'd almost ride her on a slack line, and then move your hand over, come across with your right leg. There! That is a very nice horse. Yep, just move your hand over to the left and use your right leg and move her over. And let this big old boy just move your hands to the left and use a little right. There you go, see that? Yeah, so there you go, Donna, just steer him in. And in between times, you can give him a little more slack. You're kind of keeping a little tension on the reins. Well, he's a very nice guy. There you go. Now release. Give him some slack. There's got to be a payoff in it for him. There's got to be a little payoff in it for him. Joanna, a little bit of right leg. Just go to that right leg. There you go. Feel how he came under your hand? Did you feel that bulge he had in there before? Just move your hand over. Right leg. There. Perfect. That was really good. So, Donna, don't pull on him. Even if you're steering him, just move your hand over, take a little tension, and drive him to your hand with that right leg. Put a little right leg in him. Turn your right toe out. There. There. Okay, let's just pick up on these guys and let them stop. So this horse here didn't learn much because she didn't need to learn much. But I think you got better at applying your hands and your legs in a more organized way. And this horse here is just a nice guy. You get along with him, and that's so important. Just steer him over. Now just pick up on the reins and let him stop. Pick up on both reins, let him stop. Give him a pat. I'd be happy with him. This is a nice horse.
He is.